today for no particularly good reason except that it's the end of the year and coming up to Christmas. Let's look at some drawings that were done by Milt Kahl, great Disney animator. And these are considered thumbnail sketch drawings. This is for a movie where this is his last movie animating at Disney, The Rescuers, came out in 1977. And what you'll see in these drawings are his thinking process for animating a scene. This is what he would do before he started to animate. He tries to figure out the staging and the poses that best will put across the idea of the scene or the sequence. This is Snoops coming up to one of Madame Medusa's alligators, patting it on the nose and good boy, and then we cut to a close-up, and then we go to the side shot again of the two of them holding, I guess they're holding her doll. And he backs up in fear and backs up onto the couch, I think. It's been a while since I saw the movie. Here we see him thumbnailing out Penny holding her little doll. And he writes down what's going on underneath it, whether it's dialogue or descriptive narration. Descriptions about what's going on. Here we see Snoops talking to Penny, pointing to the alligators off screen. So like I said, he's doing these small drawings before he does any animation so that he gets clear in his mind and the director's mind how he's going to handle the scene. And you do this so that you don't waste time doing these giant drawings on animation paper and it turns out to not be right. So if you get it right in the thumbnail stage, you have a better idea in your mind as to what it's going to be, and you have a lot more clarity as to how you're going to animate it. So these great little sketches are what starts him off to do his animation. And you see these wonderful poses, very small, of Snoops and the alligator, and how to best show the fear that Snoops has for these alligators. And I guess he circled this one to say, well, this is the one that I think works the best. Hello, kitty. Why don't you come down here? That's a good kitty. And all these other poses. Now he's working out a different scene. Snoops runs out of door, leans over the railing. This is the houseboat that Medusa lives on. And Medusa comes out with the crocodiles, holding them by leashes. Reminds me of a scene in the old Johnny Quest TV show with the big guy, Sumi, and he's walking the two giant lizards. Come on, kitty, give me a break. So make sure you do thumbnails before you start animating, just to clear in your head how you're going to handle the shot. You see all these great drawings, and they're just scribbles. They're not finished drawings, they're just scribbles. And yet you know what's going on. Like in this one, Snoops is tying a rope to a bucket. There's the rope going up. It's on the edge of not a cliff, but they're in some rock formation thing. And they're going to lower the bucket down into the hole. And I think they're going to put her in the bucket to go down there. And here you see Medusa telling her, look, you got to do this for me. I need the jewel down there. And she's sweet-talking her by grabbing her by the face. Here we see Medusa on the couch and Snoops here at the other end of the couch. So he's trying to figure out, well, what's the best staging for these shots? And he draws a simplistic frame around them so that he can figure out, here's the two alligators and there's Medusa back there. Here's a slightly different angle, I guess, with the two of them here and her back there. Here she's hugging them. How best to show that. There's another one of her hugging them there. This is on the rock formation going up. How best to show that? Snoop's dragging Penny up the rocks, and he's going to put her in the bucket. Here he is lowering the bucket down into the hole. Here is the bucket, Penny, and Medusa. And so you see the way he's lined up the shot. And this is a slight alternative to that, putting the camera a little bit more this way than it is here. And somebody else might have put the bucket really big here, and then Penny, and then Medusa closer to Penny. A forced perspective shot. So here she is leading. Well, they're pulling her. This is a part of the chase, trying to get her. Then we go back to the rock formation, and I haven't put these in order. I should probably put these in order which they appear in the film. And then show you how the final film frames came out. This is a really famous shot. He stuck more or less to this in the final film, telling her to go down there. You won't see your Teddy again. And she's backed up in fear. So do your scribbles really small. Get it straight what you're going to do. Somebody gave me this stack of drawings years and years ago. It's been so long I don't even know who gave them to me now. It was such a surprise when they gave them to me, and I thought, wow, I had no idea that somebody would go to such trouble before they started animating. I thought they were given a layout and then boom, they just go. Well, he was probably given a basic storyboard pose or setup and a background layout as to where the action's taking place. And then he would figure out, well, what's the best angle to do this sequence? Because I don't like the way the storyboards quite have it. I want it slightly different to show off what the character's thinking and feeling. This is a really famous sequence here where she grabs the teddy and then she puts her foot up and she eventually pushes the child back and the child falls towards the hole and then gets into the bucket and goes down. Here's Medusa getting ready for bed, I guess. She jumped up on the chair because the two mice are in the room, who were played by Bob Newhart and Ava Gabor. They were TV stars back in the 60s. And here she is shooting, using her shotgun, trying to shoot the mice. There she is pushing the little girl, and the girl falls back, and I think she stops. Back to Snoop's, figuring out what to do, and the two alligators are watching him and figuring out what they're going to do. There he is pointing to the hole, and she's got to come with him. And here he's got the thing on the hoist and lowering it down. And now he's falling in, so now here's drawings of him falling back. And there's more drawings of Medusa and the two alligators. He's figuring out how to pose this, how to set this up, how to frame it. And here she is in fear because of the mice. And what's the best pose for the mice fear thing? Who aren't really scaring her. They're running away in fear themselves, but she's afraid of mice. She's not afraid of alligators, but she's afraid of mice. So that's the last drawing I have of this stack of great drawings by Milt Kahl, figuring out how to set up these scenes for the rescuers. And there's stuff online in detailing more about what he did in the rescuers. That was his last great picture that he did. And animating this woman character, Medusa, was just the best animation any of us had ever seen. So look up the Rescuers. You can see parts of it online, or you can buy it, whatever. And until next time, keep drawing.